V2PTE Academic. We are providing online PTE coaching and monthly practice test. You can also stay connected with us. Facebook, Instagram and Telegram. For more information visit our WhatsApp on given number. Subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon for more updates.
It might sound obvious that if you want to improve a robot's software, you should improve its software. Agrim Gupta of Stanford University, however, begs to differ. He thinks you can also improve a robot's software by improving its hardware. That is, by letting the hardware adapt itself to the software's capabilities. As they describe in Nature Communications, he and his colleagues have devised a way of testing this idea. In doing so, they have brought to robotics the principles of evolution by natural selection. They've also cast the spotlight on an evolutionary idea that dates from the 1890s, but which has hitherto proved hard to demonstrate.
The European market is a tough terrain for food delivery firms. Delivery Hero has had a good run in the past couple of years. In August 2020, it ascended to the DAX, the stock market index of Germany's most valuable listed firms. It is present in 50 countries on 4 continents. Revenue for the third quarter was €1.8 billion, that's $2 billion, a jump of 89% compared with the same period in 2020. We grew 100% before Corona, 100% during Corona, and we will grow 100% after Corona, says Niklas Ostberg, the Berlin-based firm's Swedish chief executive. By numbers of orders, Delivery Hero is more than twice as big as DoorDash, its large American rival.
The lives of distinguished people often take a lot of telling.
Receive.
Yet even devotees might raise an eyebrow at the heft of Sir Paul McCartney's memoir, 2 volumes totalling 960 pages. Casual Beatles fans may be surprised by the title too, though most would consider Sir Paul the band's best musician, with an honourable mention for George Harrison. John Lennon typically gets the plaudits for writing. In a poll by the BBC in 2001 to rank the greatest lyricists, Lennon received more than twice as many votes as McCartney.
Like every farmer, Courtney Hammond, who grows blueberries and cranberries in Washington County, Maine, has a lot of worries. He frets about weather, invasive species, failed crops, and global prices. To abide by federal food safety laws, he has had to do training, maintain meticulous records, have insect and rodent control plans, and document daily the sanitation of his processing equipment. It is a tremendous amount of work, but it means, he says, I don't have to worry about anybody getting sick from eating anything that leaves my farm. Now he is worried that a new law may put his hard work in jeopardy. Earlier this month, 61% of voters opted to change the state constitution to ensure that all Mainers had a right to food, first law of its kind in America.
On August 4th, explosives aboard 2 drones flying near Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro as he spoke in Caracas were detonated. 7 people were injured. Maduro has used the incident as a pretext to crack down on Venezuela's opposition by unleashing the regime's secret police. State Department spokesperson Heather Nauert said the United States condemns the political violence that occurred on August 4th and urges the Maduro regime to respect the rule of law, exercise restraint, and safeguard the presumption of innocence for all accused.
Even if the distribution of women's occupations matched that of men, if women were the doctors and men were the nurses, she calculates that at most a third of the pay gap would disappear. The most important cause is that women curtail their careers as a part of a rational household response to labour markets, which generously reward anyone, male or female, who is willing to hold down what Ms. Goldin calls a greedy job. These are roles such as those in law, accountancy and finance that demand long and unpredictable hours. Parents need somebody to be on call at home in case a child falls ill and needs picking up from school, or needs cheering on at a concert or football match.
High staff churn is here to stay. Retention strategies require a rethink.
In the not-so-distant past, bosses did not have to worry as much about their workforces. Newcomers could absorb the corporate culture osmotically. Workers' families were invisible, not constantly interrupting Zoom calls. Employees had a job, not a voice. Now firms have to be intentional. Management speak for thinking about everything from the point of the office to how staff communicate with each other. Retention is the latest area to require attention. The spike in staff departures, known as the Great Resignation, is centred on America. A record 3% of the workforce there quit their jobs in September.
In 1945, while in a state of exhaustion, the mathematician John von Neumann had a kind of stammering premonition. He was in Los Alamos working on the atom bomb, and he told his wife, Clary, that the energy source he was helping to develop would make scientists the most hated and also the most wanted citizens of any country. Then he informed her that his other ongoing project, the computer, would one day be even more important and potentially even more dangerous. Good biographies of some of the greatest mathematical minds are rare. Because they were polymaths, biographers who can interpret their manifold achievements for the ordinary mortal are themselves thin on the ground. This has been von Neumann's fate, and the upshot is that he has not had the recognition he deserves.
President Trump has reluctantly signed into law a congressional bill imposing sanctions on Russia over its policy in Ukraine and alleged meddling in last year's US presidential election. Afterwards, he called the legislation seriously flawed, saying it encroached on his powers to negotiate foreign policy and hurt the interests of European allies. The company that provided the Venezuelan voting system for the controversial Constituent Assembly elections says the turnout figure was inflated by at least 1 million. The Speaker of the opposition-controlled National Assembly called on prosecutors to open a criminal investigation immediately.
The United States has confirmed that it will pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Washington has informed the United Nations, formally implementing a decision by President Trump in June. But the State Department said the US would continue to participate in climate change meetings until the withdrawal process was completed. New research indicates that weather-related disasters could kill more than 150,000 people in Europe each year by the end of the century. The European Commission report estimated that heat waves would cause 99% of all weather-related deaths on the continent.